Being a content creator can be one of the most fulfilling careers that there is. It could also be one of the most frustrating. So today I've got 7 tips for content creation and the mindset of successful content creators. Don't worry, this is actionable advice. Tip number 1 for content creation is to eliminate distractions to your destination. Do you have a clear goal and a vision for where you want to be as a content creator and the things you want to achieve? Well, you need to ask yourself if some of the things you're doing right now, in the moment, day to day, hour to hour, are helping you get there any faster. And you need to eliminate distractions and bad habits from your life and, just in general, that you feel will not help you to achieve your goals and get to your destination. That doesn't mean there isn't room for hobbies or what people like to refer to as work-life balance. It just means that you need to have priorities and that you need to constantly check in with yourself and know that the things that you're doing are going to get you where you want to be and that you're not doing unnecessary busy work or allowing yourself to be distracted from doing any work at all through procrastination. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, then you know I've done about roughly 1,500 videos on this main YouTube channel over the last 8 years or so. That speaks a lot to the importance of consistency, and I don't think I could have achieved over 500,000 subscribers or a silver play button in YouTube and I think it's 30 million views without consistency because none of my videos ever went viral. Not once. Often there's the misconception that being a successful content creator revolves around luck and virality and things outside of your control. And while those things could play a factor in some people's success, usually in outlier cases, the fact is that most people are a byproduct of their consistency one way or another. And it's just good common sense. It's just good old-fashioned common sense to know that everything you do today adds up to an outcome that you're going to experience sometime in your future. This is true whether it comes to content creation or whether you want those washboard abs. Every little bit of effort that you do or don't make right now is going to produce an outcome that you're going to live with later. So it's best to focus on the things that you can control. Like we talked about eliminating distractions, think about what you can control and think about areas where you can be consistent. Consistency isn't just about the frequency of content that you put out, whether it's your podcast or your YouTube channel or on TikTok. It's also consistency when it comes to the values that you're conveying and representing and the things that you are doing and portraying. You want to have consistent messaging. Consistency in your brand in terms of your visuals and your aesthetic can be good. You don't need to be boring and never change things up, but sometimes you need to wonder about the expectations you set for your audience. Consistency does create comfort and creates credibility with an audience. Tip number 3 around content creation: be willing to experiment and to have experiences. A lot of times you'll hear me say something like, well, just make your first 100 crappy videos. That's how you're going to get experience. And I say crappy, some of you take that too literally, because what I'm talking about is you're going to reflect on that and all of those videos will feel crappy to you compared to where you are later if your goal is to find one thing that you can learn from the experience of creating content and then improve upon it each and every single time. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. So if that's the case, then we need to have a process of experimentation where we can kind of taste different things and we can kind of see and experience what happens if we just try. If we just try things, we can then have those experiences and we can decide for ourselves if we want to continue down that path or whether it's worth pursuing something else. So don't be afraid to experiment with things and try to learn from the experiences that you're having through experimentation. This is going to grow your creativity. Tip number 4 for content creators is going to be about detaching yourself emotionally from results. The art of detachment is something that's very important to me, and it's part of Eastern philosophy. You'll find that I'm a big nerd like that. And I feel that as content creators and as artistic people, creative people, we often are very emotionally invested in our work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to be invested in the process of creating and the act of doing. Often because of social media, we look through validation in views and likes and the approval of others. And this is detrimental to your creativity because then it stops being yours and it starts being something you're compelled to do from the outside and that you only do if you're rewarded externally from it. The work needs to be its own reward for creative people in order to thrive and to also feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. And while I'm not saying those external things don't matter, and while I'm saying that, you need to focus somewhat on what is satisfying to you, it just needs to be in alignment with the expectations you set for an audience or the demand in the market. So if you can learn to just not take everything as personally, then I think that you will burn out less and you will actually create more and be happy with what you're creating. Tip number 5 for content creation: done is better than perfect. Now this one seems very obvious, but perfectionism and the chasing of that, the vaunted wisdom of quality over quantity, sets people up to fail because nothing is ever good enough. If you're a creative person and you can kind of relate to that, let me know in the comment section because I struggle with this myself, even though I know better. I know better, and yet a lot of times my consistency can be hindered by the fact that I'm putting standards on myself that nobody else asked me to. Learn to give yourself some grace and realize that done is better than perfect. Do not let perfect become the enemy of good, and realize that an opportunity for growth exists in those imperfections. It is a learning opportunity. Tip number 6 for creators: share what you have learned. That doesn't mean go out and make a YouTube tips channel when you have 1,000 subscribers. It does mean that if you have learned and benefit and grown from something, you should share it with people that you like and that you trust, or your peers, or even with the world. And I feel that this is valid and that we don't need to gatekeep people sharing their experiences. I think that there is value that a lot of people can create through sharing what they know, and it's an opportunity to get feedback. It's an opportunity to see if there's something different in your process from other people's process, and it's an opportunity for them to also test their ideas. So when you're sharing, also give people the opportunity to share with you and to compare notes. When we can compare notes and we can see what we're doing differently and whether it's leading to producing better outcomes or different outcomes, then that is extraordinarily valuable and we grow as a community. It's also the idea that kind of created this entire channel. And finally, tip number 7 for content creators is don't devalue yourself. A lot of times creative people can fall into traps of negativity, poor mental health, and just a negative mindset. Don't allow this to happen and rob you of the joy of your creativity. And also, don't devalue yourself just because you're not seeing results right now. Look at opportunities where you can refine your process, learn from others, or experiment, and just remember to be patient. Remember to be patient and to ultimately trust the process. While this can be hard to do and you can be feeling frustrated, the thing is that you need to continue to create. And when it comes down to it, remember to rest instead of quit. There's no point in abusing yourself for your art. You ultimately have to learn how to make this something sustainable and build it into your lifestyle in a realistic way. And I think that if you are putting yourself down just because you're not getting the results you want, instead of looking at it as an opportunity for growth, then that's an unhealthy mindset that has to be corrected. And I'm hoping content like this will actually play a role in that. Question of the day: what is your best tip for content creation? What has helped you in your journey as a creator? Share that with everybody in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, watch my playlist around better content creation, or feel free to watch the next video on how to get to your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Both are linked in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.